you've heard it. Now you put it
I'm so
in
sorry. I've
and keep
not
it.
been recording. I'm
That's
so
fine.
sorry.
I did nobody, I'm sure none of us noticed until you mentioned it. So, but so keep that in mind and then be willing to learn. It's a steep learning curve, but it's also a fun learning curve if you make it fun. And you need to develop learning activity in the sense that you need to be willing, somebody needs to meet their mic, in the sense that you need to be willing to burn the midnight candle. Actually have a schedule to say 1 hour, 30 minutes, whatever length of time you can commit to every day. You're going to commit to learning something. So roadmap is start with understanding the fundamentals, what is software, understand the software delivery model, understand the software testing life cycle. All of those you can be done with that in like 2 or 3 days. At least have a basic foundational understanding of what those theories mean. With that, you then decide how deep into automation you want to get into. With automation as well, don't go too deep too quickly. Start gradually. Now, when I say foundations, it also involves, that is me also still encapsulating manual testing by because you would never be able to completely do it with manual testing. The difference is just that you will be able to do it faster if you understand automation well, but you would never really get rid of manual testing. Now, with that in mind, when it comes to testing frameworks and fundamentals, I would advise rather than trying to understand security testing, performance testing, load testing early in the game, no, focus on the functional part and focus mostly on exploratory testing. Because exploratory testing, you would end up in exploratory testing, you end up doing regression, you end up doing sanity tests, you end up doing smoke tests and all those nice English that we speak around all the different testing models and testing types if you're exploring. And then after a while, you will realize that, oh, okay, I now want to specially do this regression for this particular aspect of my solution. For instance, we fix something, I want to confirm it's not working properly and all of that. Or it's working in production, but I want something that's telling me that it's still working the way it should work. So, but it's still a kind of, another point, you can then automate those repeated parts of things. Then after you've gotten your leg into the automation space a bit, you can then begin to look at specializing in some of the frameworks and tools that people use now. So that would involve things like, do you want to do Cypress? And I think we have a Cypress pro in the house. The person that was saying that, I wouldn't mention his name, but everybody knows him. Let me leave it like that. So, there's Cypress, there's Selenium WebDriver for those who that's their cup of tea. There is Scandinium that I think is taking, hopefully I got that pronounced it right here.
Daniel.
Scandium. You can tell that I see it, but I don't read the word. I've never pronounced it out. But, so just look for some frameworks that would, and I would also recommend that you look for frameworks that give you understanding into software development. Don't look for the simple tools out the box because you might settle into that place and struggle to leap into some of the more complicated ones. So look for one that is software development that allows you to understand software development and helps you look at code, to understand code, and look for something that also gets the job done quickly. You may or may not get a job in an organization that uses automation, let me tell you upfront, particularly if you're in Nigeria. Even across the world, actually, not everywhere that they use automation. But here's one thing you owe yourself, learn. So that learning might look like you finding projects online that you would test by yourself and to create some kind of portfolio on GitHub if that's your, style. I don't have a GitHub repo, but that's probably because I kind of grew past the need to have it before it became a thing. Doesn't mean that I cannot still create one now, but I'm just saying that to say that it's not that that's the do or be all. If you don't have one, then your career is over. No, but I'm just saying that can give you some kind of,
Yeah.
reference as well. But for those who want to see evidence, supposedly, then you can reference that and show them that, I've done this, even though my workplace doesn't provide opportunity to do that. I have done this personally on my own and all of that. Then there are resources you can lean into. One of the resources I recommend a lot is CAU, which is now applied to CAU University, also online. They have lots of free courses and they have very clear paths that if you follow the courses in the past they recommend, you will learn a lot. And it will be a good place to start, to then go and start building and expanding. So then when you're ready for the serious things, go and look for Badmos's YouTube channel and go and start eating the hard meat. At that point, it's no longer meat, you're going to be chewing bones. But I think that might give you some kind of rough path. And for those who want to do mobile, then look into Appium, look into Espresso, and just find some of those things that would help you, automate for your mobile. And then for things like security testing and load testing, take a look at them as well. I think for load testing, K6 is a good idea. JMeter is where everybody gets their feet wet, but you can then take it on to K6. Again, don't focus on learning tools. Focus on learning and understanding the frameworks behind those tools itself, because that will make you more dexterous in crossing from tool to tool. And then understand security testing. For security testing, start with OWASP. OWASP is OWASP. They typically define, what security challenges organizations will face in the previous year and what we should look out for in the current year. So that kind of thing, just look out for that and use that as well to get you started first. When you're comfortable with OWASP, you begin to start seeing opportunities to then expand into other things as well. But please don't try to know everything at once. You won't know it and you will feel overwhelmed and you will chicken out quickly because it will stress you. So just start gradually and give yourself a whole lot of time. Give yourself 3-4 years to learn. When you come out from that learning phase, you yourself will be proud of who you've become. But I think that would be a good way to approach it.
All right, thank you so much. Give yourself time and start gradually. Don't attempt to learn everything all at once, but make use of resources and tools all around us. There are so many tools. You mentioned one good one, which was Test Automation University. There's so many free blogs with the advent of YouTube, free resources out there, and sometimes the next challenge is usually it gets overwhelming. Oh, I go to Raga for this, I go to this guy for that, I go to this YouTube, and then you're starting 10% here, 15% here, 20% here, and you're not finishing, right? So the keys, the things you've mentioned are crucial. They're crucial, and there are a ton of resources, a ton of learning institutes. Even here in Nigeria, we have a lot of people who run tutorial centers and learning communities, and it's great. So there's no need to run ahead of yourself, right? Nobody's giving you a time to say in 2 years if you don't learn all of this out, right? So take your time. Thank you so much for sharing that. The next question, I know we're out of time, so I'll just take one more question and then we'll go to our Slido questions straight up. So you've touched on tools and specialization in QA. So I would just skip that question. For those who are overwhelmed with the need to know what to learn, right? And how to structure their learning. I think the last question you touched a bit on it. So I have two questions. I'm debating which one to ask because of time.
Ask, but I'll try and touch them somehow.
Okay, so the first question is how do testers, now that you've told them to calm down, you've told them to make use of resources, go beyond just learning the tools, but learning the frameworks and principles for which these tools run on, and cited some resources. Yes, towards the end would mention some other great resources and companies that are pushing this. But how do they then go ahead to set, this is January, how do they set the short and long-term career goals following what you just explained?
Okay, so one of the things I am learning now, which I think anybody who gets it, anybody on this call who starts practicing it, give yourself a year, you'll see the results. Put systems in place. It's a system that is in place, whether informal or not, that tells you that when you wake up in the morning, you wash your face, wash your mouth, do your hygiene, and then you get ready for the day. Put a system in place for your learning and for your career as well. What that looks like is to say, okay, you reference roadmap.sh for QA. Look at that particular roadmap and then pick, so that gives you a study outline and say for my career growth as far as QA is concerned, I'm going to reference this particular resource, which is the skeletal roadmap of things I need to learn. And then you start from there and say, okay, I'm committing 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, a week, a day, depending on what your schedule is like. Or to say my Saturdays from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. for those who can wake up very early on Saturday, or for more time, just pick a time that works for you. Put it on your calendar and make it a date with
Fine.
yourself. What that looks like is to say that I am not going to, if my friend calls
Sorry,
me and
Temitope, I just
says,
want to
I'm not going to make that
confirm
appointment myself, so I'll tell them no, and I'll work around it.
you're
The way
breaking.
you decided
I want to
that
confirm if it's
at
just on
12,
my end.
you're going to study plan and say every, go on,
Yeah, I wanted
similar
to
experience.
confirm
It might
if.
be.
Okay, thank you. So you
Oh, okay.
went off for a bit too, so perhaps it was your network.
Okay, all right, great. Please go on, please. Apologies.
Schedule for yourself. Make it an appointment. I started doing that recently, and I think it is yielding results more than because we all have good intentions, and the road to wherever they say is paved with good intentions, right? So beyond taking out of good intentions, make it a system, and that system is I'm going to commit every week, every month, if that's what's your boat, or I'm committing a weekend every month. I'm committing to 1 hour every day. I'm committing to 5 hours every week, whatever that looks like for you, to studying. So that's the first step. So now you have the time, you've cut out the time for that study. The next is what you want to study in that period, right? Then you can now use, so that you don't reinvent it, we just pick that roadmap page for QAs and say, okay, I'm going to pick each of the subjects and each of the titles in this thing, and I'm going to go through each of them one by one. Start with the fundamentals, understand it, move on to, because the good thing is that the arrows will tell you where next to go, right? So based on that, you pick the next one you want to go drilling. Sometimes you don't even have to drill into all the tools that are listed or all the areas that are listed there, because depending on your context, you might not even need some of those things. Like prioritization and test reposition, because you know, one by one. I'm trying to apply, read our bloated with knowledge, but I would out of the notes I took that day, I've learned 5 things. You don't have to do all 5, but pick one of those 5 things and say, this is what I'm going to action for this week. And I'm going to I guarantee you that when we come back in December, not be the person on this call now. So that's the simplest I can have for you. The outline is already existing. Just create the time and block the time on the calendar. We'll do that and then commit to it and show up. Refuse to let yourself say, because
She's back.
all right, great. Okay, so somebody asked in the comments, Gloria, that do you need to be a software developer to be a software tester? The answer is no. Matter of fact, you don't need to have any software development skills or any competence to start testing. The way I put it is this, to simplify for you. Do you use a phone? And have you ever used any kind of technology? If you have, then you can test. Because the truth is that you use a phone, you can read, so you're not, and you're visually quite okay. You're not visually impaired to the point where you need special tools to view the solution, and your hands work. That's all you need, really. Anybody from any walk of life, meaning that if you were a medical doctor, you were a secondary school dropout, so far you can read English and you can use a device, you can test. So it's just a question of how much competence you will become over time.
Thank you so much, Temitope. I'm so sorry. I think I had a bit of
I'm 100% sure. They can drag us together, but I strongly believe that anybody can test. It's a question of how much commitment they are willing to put to it. That would then, what will set you apart really is the skills and polish that you put around it. But out the bat, is that not why people report on Google Play that I use this app, it was working fine, and then the last updates, it broke. I can no longer do XYZ. They just tested that app and reported the bug.
Thank you so much, Temitope. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. We have a number of questions on Slido, so I'll just go straight into
All right.
them. My final question was going to be for what your advice would be for testers that have been in this profession for some years, and um it looks like they're on a plateau in their career. How would you encourage them to break off that plateau and advance? But just hold that question while we go straight to the Slido questions and take maybe 5 or so of them. So
All right.
just give me a minute to share screen in order to
While you're
attempt.
sharing screen, let me touch on that. It's simple. The same thing I said to the previous question would actually solve that. So which is what? Set a system in place to learn. The other thing is if depending on your rapport with your other team members in the other roles, this is an opportunity to set a learning path for maybe DevOps or engineering. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean you need to change career, but it gives you understanding, and that will introduce maybe fresh joy, fresh interests, new interests that will maybe motivate you some more. Because right now, what I hear is this person has done this job for a while, and now it's just business as usual. Every day is boring now. So rather than just stay bored, look for something new that would infuse some fun, some newness, and some oomph into what you're already doing, so that you get maybe like new fuel, new drive, and then that will refire you some way to get you going again. And so again, set that learning plan and learning path, and using that structure of I'm committing to 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, and then in no time, that joy would hopefully come back again. And look for podcasts that interest you in the space. You'll be surprised the things you would learn that will make you curious again. And please, no matter what you do, don't let anybody kill your curiosity. I say it all the time. My superpower is curiosity and collaboration, meaning you can start reading the questions. Once you start, I'll answer. So I'm just still talking because I've not seen the questions yet.
Okay, no problem. I'm sharing them now. Also, I'd like to encourage everyone on the call. I don't know why the share is. Okay, you should see it now. Everyone on the call, please go to the Slido link and help make this quicker for us because we're out of time. Vote the questions you'd like Temitope to answer. We'll take the questions with the highest number of votes, the top 5 voted questions. That's what we'll take. So please rush down to the Slido link that has been shared and thumbs up the questions you'd like Temitope to answer. So yes, Temitope will take the question that is currently in 3. All I know is manual testing of web and mobile apps. What language will you advise me to start to learn? That's currently the highest voted question. So we could start with that.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you that maybe you should ask a different question, not necessarily language.
Okay.
Because languages would change, but understand object-oriented programming instead.
Okay.
And why did I say so? When you understand object-oriented programming, you would understand how to use any language. I did not sit down to learn Java when it was time for me to move. I literally moved from writing C# to writing Java. I didn't go to class for it. You could argue that, oh, it was similar, is why I could do that. But that's because at the fundamentals, I understood, okay, this is how OOP works, generally speaking. And based on that understanding, I just need to understand small nuances here and there that pertain strictly to Java. And then that was it, right? So understand OOP. So I'll tell you that rather than go and learn, rather than you're going to learn a programming language, go and learn object-oriented programming, for instance. That will give you a leg into how to get started. I hope that helps. But for the basic, if you must learn a programming language, then I would say learn something close to what your developers use to write your code, if it will help if that tool will help in your automation, because that would also make it easier for you to get help from them. That's the other thing hard. When you're learning a language and there's nobody around you that understands it and you're stuck, you'll be very frustrated. But when you have people around you who know it as well and are doing the same thing, then it's easier to get help from them. So those are the 2 things I recommend. I hope that helps.
Yes. What I pick there is understand the basic or the fundamental, the backbone of
Always.
software programming. Once you understand the basic structure of programming, then you can apply it against other languages. Thank you so much. That would inform the language. So if your organization say uses Cypress for web automation, or say they use Selenium for web automation in the organization you're currently working on, and then you're looking at Appium, the best thing would naturally be that you go into Java, because that's the language for which that supports these tools that are in the organization you're working on. So yes, thank you so much for that. We've taken one, we'll take 13. The next question with 13 votes. Please recommend a good podcast for QAs. I haven't seen any. Before you answer this, I just wanted to say this is an opportunity for all the veterans on the call. We've just been accused that we have so many veterans and gurus in software testing in Nigeria, and there is no podcaster. So anybody wants to add this to their goals for this year, please.
It has already started YouTube. We can just,
Okay, great.
I love it already. But anyway, to speak to it, podcast, I think what you should just do, go to Ministry of Testing. You would find lots of resources there, and you would find a few podcasts. I know they started a podcast not too long ago, so you would find podcasts there. Start with Ministry of Testing. From there, you would find other things. Somebody said Test Guild also has a podcast, so there you go. That's the answer to that.
Thank you so much. Yes, next question. Most of the international QA jobs, UK, US, Canada, end up in India. How can we break the jinx in Nigeria? So, can you provide extra clarity? By breaking the jinx, do you mean jinx in terms of
jobs? Wants to get the jobs rather than the jobs going to India, you should come to Nigeria.
Okay.
Grow your skill and understand what they want. That's the honest truth. The reason it goes to India is because India is low-key perceived as the Silicon Valley of Asia. No matter what, whether you like it or hate it, go on Udemy today, you want to take a course. A good percentage of them are by Indian people. So the question is, what are these people looking for? And how do you also get your leg in the room? Get good at your skills and you cannot be a lazy worker. You need to understand that the work culture in Asia, generally speaking, but if I speak specifically in China and India, it's not the same as the work culture we have here. And I will just be plain. To a large extent, people on this side of the world want the money, but we don't want the work. It doesn't go that way. You have to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work. And doing the work is not necessarily that you slave and die there. It's just that you learn to work smart and work intelligently. And when you show yourself as good and deserving, it will come to you. So please, first of all, change that mindset. Don't assume that it will go to India. Even if all the jobs are going to India, the one that is for you will come to you. But you have to earn it, and you have to do the work to earn it, to be positioned for it. So keep that in mind. Your mindset needs to first shift from thinking that, oh, it won't come to me because I'm Nigerian, to I have the skills, I have the resources, I have the competencies, and so I will get that job. And then start looking for them and start, learn the skills, learn the competencies, develop your competencies, and then look for those jobs. You will get it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Running to the next question. Please, what would you advise for a software tester working in an organization with no automation in place? You see the need to, but don't know how to make it work.
That's where collaboration comes in. Who are the decision makers in the room? Get buy-in. How do you get buy-in? First of all, chances are they don't want to spend money on it. So look for the free tools that will work. Look at your current technology stack in the company. If it's a software development house, then definitely they have a technology stack they use to deploy their code. Look for solutions that will work on that same stack so that they're not reinvesting in new tools or new infrastructure. Make sure that so look for what will match that. And then speak with your team members, start with your developers, move to the team leads, and be willing to do the work. One way to go around it is there is an article on tests, Ministry of Testing. Look for the article around community of practice. That's basically what you want to do, but you want to do for software testing. Read the article and be ready to run it and sell the idea. And then eventually you would probably be able to get your company to start doing on automation.
All right, thank you so much. Final question.
Community of practice is something like the QA community of practice. Just look for it.
Okay, so QA community of practice is what you look out for in the Ministry of Testing page. So final question, how do you approach applying for QA jobs when you don't meet all the requirements? I am very good with manual and I'm just getting...
Just apply. I understand the inertia of, oh, I don't have all the
Wow.
requirements, maybe I shouldn't apply for this job, just apply. What's the worst case? They might end up having an opening for manual testing, and they might even like you enough to say, don't worry, come, we'll train you. But just apply. Don't let that thought of, oh, I'm just a manual tester, I don't know automation, stop me. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't go to that interview completely ignorant. Meaning, chances are high when they say they want automation, they've mentioned that we're looking for Cypress, we're looking for REST, we're looking for pure Postman, we're looking for this. Go and read about those things. So that when you get there, you can admit to them that say, I work in a space where we don't do a lot of automation, and so I don't have a lot of hardcore work experience in it, but I have done the homework of teaching myself and learning. That will show that you're interested, and then that might put, give you a leg in the room, because that shows learning agility. And for me personally, I would take somebody who is ready to learn over somebody who already knows. Because what it means is that I can teach you and I can make you learn other things because you're open to learning, versus I know Cypress. Don't show me playwrights. I don't want to hear about playwrights. Those kind of people are a struggle and a problem sometimes. So yeah.
Thank you so much. There's a tie between the question you just answered and this. This will be the final question. How do you build your confidence as a tester to face interviews?
Okay.
I'm trying to answer this question.
I smile. I looked down and I smiled because the truth is we magnify what interviews are. We make it very big, but it's not that deep. Let me tell you as basic as what an interview is. What I'm doing right now is more or less an interview. How? It's just that they're asking me questions, I'm answering the questions. That's it. When you sit down with your friend and you're having a conversation face to face, yes, because it's your friend, it doesn't feel like it, but in a way, it could be an interview. When you sit down with your group of friends and you're all talking and one person asked a question and everybody was looking at you and then you started answering the question, in a way, that is an interview. What am I saying? Demystify the idea that interview means I have to show up, and then the nerves would get to you and then you feel very uncomfortable in the room because now you feel like all eyes are on me. I need to perform. I need to deliver. No, show up and be yourself. Just be comfortable. So when you think of interviews as I'm coming to meet these people who I don't know before, and they're coming to meet me as well. So meaning we're going to be meeting ourselves for the first time and we're going to be having a conversation. It suddenly stops being that complicated, huge, scary thing. It becomes, oh, I'm just going to have conversations with some people that I do not know before today. Yes, they might be making some decisions, but guess what? You're there to also make decisions. Don't think that interview is one way. I tell people that all the time, if I ever have to interview for a job, I go with the thought of, I'm also listening to you and looking at you. Do I like you? Do I like the way you guys sound about your job? Do you look happy at your job? Whatever that looks like. Because I'm not going to leave the job I love to go and do a job that will make me sad.
Yeah.
So you're also interviewing them. So when you think of it that way, that it's a two-way street. I'm interviewing, they're interviewing me, and they are people. They don't have 10 heads. They have their insecurities. So I'm not going to show up with my own insecurity and then because they are wearing nice suit and nice hair and speaking good English, suddenly they are better than me. No, they are not. We are all human beings. I have something they need, they have something I need. That's it. So I hope that kind of helps you demystify interviews in a way. And of course, you go prepared in that you understand the context of what you're applying for and you know how to answer. And then that's it, really. But please, interviews are not anything serious. They're just conversations you're having with people that you've never met before.
Interviews are nothing serious. They're just conversations. Thank you. Thank you so much, Temitope. This final question is like a topic on its own. It's a course on its own because there's so many dynamics to it. And I love how you put it. They're just interviews are nothing deep. They're just words. They're just conversations. Thank you so much, Temitope. I want every member of the community to appreciate our guest. She's been amazing, and the answers to the questions have been apt. Thank you so much. Finally, because we're far out of time, ANST appreciates you, Temitope, and we hope that we'll be able to host you in future events and webinars that we may have. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us and sharing with us your wisdom and your insights. We are truly grateful.
Thank you for honoring me with your time as well, because you could have chosen not to come. I mean, I can't make you, right? So yes, thank you for coming, and it's been a pleasure spending the last 1 hour with you guys.
Yes, it has. It has. Thank you so much. Okay, so for everyone in the community, our socials have been dropped in the chat. Please follow ANST. ANST has a lot for us this year and in the coming years. So do well to follow us on across all our socials. We are on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Slack. Join the community. Let's grow this conversations and have these conversations. Let's get it started, right? We're going to get an email after this webinar for feedback. Please do well to give us your feedback and your thoughts and suggestions for the association. Finally, for most of the participants here, ANST partners, ANST is going to start its training. Temitope highlighted the importance of training and learning. We let out an application last year and a number of people applied, and they've all been set up and ready for trainings. Trainings officially will start on Monday. For those who applied and are yet to check their emails, please do that. You've been sent several emails, most importantly, email links to the Slack channels for your training. So please do well to check your emails and do the needful as directed in your emails. Also, sorry, someone said the Slack link is not working. Please, can any other person attend to them? Thank you. Also, so that I don't forget my line of thought. Also, we wanted to let the association know, if you're new to software testing or if you've been in it for a while, ANST partners with a number of is partnering with a number of the well-known testing academies in Nigeria, right? And we have a lot of them. So for people who had questions and who had fears, moving into this thing, how do I start? How do I progress? Just know that you are in safe hands. Like Temitope mentioned earlier on, when a few years ago, we didn't have these opportunities to learn from places. And we have a ton of them right now. So just stay connected with the association and we'll let you know about all the opportunities, all the learning institutes in this country owned by people in this country where you can participate and gain knowledge from. So yes, we the admission for when. Okay, so for those who couldn't make the training for this particular training, just join the channel. Towards the end of the year, you would most likely release another set of application. Thank you everyone for joining. It was great having you, and we hope to see you more and engage you more across our other channels. So Temitope, thank you so much for coming. It's an honor. For as our participants who would like to speak up, share screen, say their names, now is the time to do that. If you want to unmute to say hi or you want to show your face, this would be the good time. We'll take like a minute or two to get to know each other. So thank you. Thanks for coming, and please follow us across all our socials. Ziomi, you don't have a name, you just said hi. So hello to you also. Link to the training. The training has ended. The training application for the training is closed. It closed last year. You'd wait for the next cohort towards the end of the year. All right. I guess that's all. Thanks everyone for the trainees. See you on Monday and see you on Slack. Have a lovely day. Bye everyone.
Hi.
Hey, Badmos, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
My global